Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes. Raina, what happened to you yesterday?
Again, ma'am.
Hmm?
Omitted.
Vomiting. What did you eat?
Don't know.
You don't know. Are you alright now?
Yeah.
Okay. How many of you have not sent the questions? Raina, I know. The rest of you? Anybody who did not send? No. Okay. Fine. Raina, please send that today itself. Okay. And we'll add the next portion, which is the next topic. I think psychodynamic, right? Yeah, psychodynamic therapy. You will get Saturday and Sunday, right? And Monday also you don't have class, isn't it? I mean, psychology hour is not there on Mondays, right? Okay, so yeah, you can complete psychodynamic. You can prepare questions from the whole section. That is, by Tuesday you have to complete till page number 96. Page number 96 in the sense till a duration of treatment of psychodynamic. Okay, those who have prepared already, no problem, send it to me. Others, prepare the whole set of questions and send. Okay, and would be able to complete before the test? I think so. After that, if we want, we'll give separate portions to separate people, and I'll also take a portion and we'll prepare questions. Okay. Yeah. So the pending portion in this chapter is all the seminar topics. Who is doing factors contributing in healing psychotherapy? Who's taking that topic? Nobody's here.
Ma'am, it's Grishma.
Grishma, okay. Ethics. What about ethics? Sitashish? How many of you did seminar last time? Yeah, this Raina and that's all. Okay. Alternative therapies. One was Elvina, right? The other one, Meghna, Aishwarya. Okay. And so, Meghna, what was your topic?
I didn't get any topic. I just did eating disorder.
Eating disorders. Okay, yes. So, ethics is pending. Did we miss someone? Sana? She already did, right? Let's see. Okay. Now, before we begin the topic, what are the things that will not lead to success of a therapy? Just imagine and tell me. What factors can hinder proper therapy or the therapeutic process?
A bad therapist.
A bad therapist, yes.
The client is not trusting the
Client is not?
therapist enough to follow.
The client is not asking the
When the client does not trust that therapist enough to
trust.
follow.
Trust, okay. The client has no trust in the therapist. Okay, then
Being judgmental.
being judgmental. Whom being judgmental?
The therapist.
The therapist being judgmental, yes. Then
Not being empathetic.
not being empathetic. Okay.
Using inefficient ways to deal with the client.
Inefficient ways in the sense therapeutic techniques. Okay. Amal, can you suggest something?
If there's no good relationship,
Louder, louder.
if there's no proper relationship or the client does not help or says anything about.
Okay, did you mean the therapeutic relationship?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, okay. If the therapeutic relationship is not proper, then that will also lead to some problems in therapy. Then,
Ma'am, if the client is not supportive,
who is not supportive?
clients,
Client is not supportive.
yes,
Like, client is not cooperative, isn't it? Is that what you meant? Yeah. Not supportive, cooperative is a better term, I think. If the client is not cooperative, then there is no meaning in doing the therapy. Then,
The way they speak,
who?
like, or the client or the therapist or
Client
client.
or the therapist. Okay. Then, what else comes? Anything else? What if the client does not have any more money to pay for the fees of the therapist? Again, it will hinder the therapy, isn't it? What if the client or the therapist has some personal problem at home or maybe at workplace? Again, that will hinder the therapy. Then, health issues of either the client or the therapist can affect the therapy. Then, anything else that you can think of? That's all? Done. Okay. Meghna, you want to tell me something? No. Okay. Now we have learned about psychodynamic oriented therapies, then behavior therapies, cognitive behavior therapies, several other cognitive techniques and behavioral techniques. Then we learned about biomedical therapy. We learned about humanistic existential therapy, under which the topics like client centered and gestalt and existential therapies come. Okay, so which was your favorite, or which do you think is more sensible to apply? I want answer from each one of you. We'll start with Meghna.
Just start.
Gestalt, why?
I don't have
Because of the
specific
fancy name.
no. Like I just find it interesting. I think that
Why? I mean, why did you choose Gestalt among the others?
like it make realizes one self awareness and all. So I think
It was like love at first sight for Meghna. As she saw Gestalt, yes, I am for Gestalt. No other reason. All right, let it be. Grishma,
Humanistic.
humanistic. Humanistic. Any particular therapy, or just humanistic in general? And why?
Because I think that the most important thing that that the client has support from the therapist.
Client has.
Support from the therapist and someone who believes that they can think for the better.
Okay. But in other therapies also there is support from the therapist.
But I'm so frustrated
What makes humanistic special? That's what I'm asking.
because that's what they focus on. Uh,
Louder, louder, louder.
they don't focus on the past.
They don't focus on the past, that is okay. They focus more on the present, right? Okay. Then Elvina.
Behavior cognitive therapy.
Behavior cognitive therapy or the other way around? Behavior cognitive therapy.
Yes, because it includes we can
It's like you say biryani chicken instead of chicken biryani. What is the name of the therapy?
CBT,
CBT. Is that behavior cognitive therapy?
cognitive behavior therapy.
Cognitive behavior therapy. Okay. And why did you like that?
Because in that we can choose any kind of therapy which is according to the problem that the client is suffering from.
Hmm. And in the others we cannot choose.
Yes, but in this we can have any type of like psychodynamic or cognitive therapy.
Psychodynamics not there. Behavior or cognitive therapy. Okay. And the two things involved is mainly the relaxation procedures. It is the cognitive part and CBT. The C stands for cognitive restructuring, all those things, and behavior, that stands for behavioral techniques. So we can have a biopsychosocial approach, which means we can think from various, I mean, a wide perspective. We can add different concepts from different therapies and then apply here. That is the advantage of CBT, cognitive behavior therapy. Don't forget it. CBT. Okay. Then Sneha.
Logotherapy, ma'am.
Logotherapy. Why did you like logotherapy?
Because it focuses on soul and it's like discovering ourselves, discovering the soul. So I find it very interesting.
Okay. Amal.
And cognitive,
Cognitive. Why?
makes me really because it's trying to locate the my cause like not like belief or thought that like
I can hear only thoughts. Can you be a bit slow and then speak once more? Slow, slow, slower. He's asking slower.
it's mainly because it's trying to locate the what the cause like thought or belief is led to the disorder.
Yeah, the core beliefs or the core schemas and the negative automatic thoughts, they are the focus of cognitive therapy. Okay. Then Ashish. Ashish is at his mother's house. So maybe he cannot switch on the video. Ashish, are you there? Chat is enabled. If you can, please put your answer in the chat box. Who's left now? Mehak.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Which one?
Yes, ma'am.
Just out. Why?
Helps us understand our own potential.
Please be a bit louder.
Helps us understand our own potential and we ourselves can solve the problems. The therapist just pushes us.
So the same happens in the client center also, right? Yeah. Okay, let it be. Anybody who did not get a chance? Aishwarya.
I think I'll either choose behavior or humanistic because in behavior therapy, by changing the behaviors of a person, a lot of change can be made in the person's life or the perspective of the person. So that can be found effective. Then in humanistic, I think understanding ourselves is more important. So when the client is able to solve his or her own problem itself, so the next time when the client is facing a similar problem, the client will be able to face it or solve it by himself or herself.
Okay. Sana, can you hear me? Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Which therapy did you like the most among all that we learned? No response? No response. Okay. Now there is something called eclectic approach. In theories, when we study about theories, we talk about eclectic approach, which means we can take the good points or the good portion from every theory and then apply to real life. Okay, this is just extra information, nothing in our textbook. Eclectic, we call it eclectic approach, which means if you like some part of behavior therapy, if you like some part of humanistic, if you like some part of cognitive, you can add all that into your practice. Which means if I become a therapist, if I am a psychotherapist, then I am free to use any good portion or any good part or any good technique from each therapy that I have studied. It's not necessary that if I am using a behavior technique, then I should only stick on to the behavior techniques or behavior therapy. Okay, I'm free to choose from any technique of therapy that I like. So basically when we speak of eclectic approach, then that means we are choosing the good parts from all the theoretical principles that we have learned. Okay. It's like the biopsychosocial model that we discussed in CBT. That is why CBT, when we saw video, we discussed that it's one of the most common ones. Most common or most popular therapy found, CBT. And I told you, right, when about Aviva, when the external examiner asks which is the therapy used for this disorder, everybody answers, that is CBT. Okay, yes. So the topic, we'll just discuss this in brief because these topics, the upcoming topics are for seminar. So we'll discuss just in brief. The first one, okay, the heading is factors contributing to healing in psychotherapy. Okay, so whatever topics we discussed before, that is the negative things, the things that hinder the therapy, the opposite will be the factors that encourage the therapist and the client to engage in the therapeutic relationship and then forward the therapy. Okay, forward the process of therapy. Now the first one is, a major factor in the healing is techniques adopted by the therapist and the implementation of the same with the patient or client. If the behavioral system and the CBT school are adopted to heal an anxious client, the relaxation procedures and the cognitive restructuring largely contribute to the healing. So the first one that we have to note is the techniques used. In any therapy, the techniques that we use, techniques that the therapist uses, important. So the first one is techniques. Second one, the therapeutic alliance. Therapeutic alliance means, what do you mean by therapeutic alliance?
The therapeutic relationship.
The therapeutic relationship. In the introduction part, we learnt very much about this. It should be a professional relationship. It should be a trustful relationship between the client and the therapist. The client should not manipulate the therapist should not manipulate the client. The rapport, establishing rapport, all those things comes under therapeutic alliance. Then third one, the outset of therapy, while the patient or client is being interviewed in the initial sessions to understand the nature of the problem, he or she unburdens the emotional problems. Okay, unburdens means we have a burden of our emotional problems and our stress and anxiety and everything inside us. So unburdening means you will be venting out those feelings and emotions. You will remove that burden from yourself. That is the unburdening process. Okay, this process of emotional unburdening, it is known as catharsis. Catharsis. Catharsis, or you can write unburdening. So if a question comes, what is the other term used for the unburdening process in a therapeutic relationship or in the process of therapy? What will you write?
Catharsis.
Catharsis. It's like I'm teaching second standard students. I do the same when I teach them. Okay, the next one. There are several non-specific factors. Non-specific factors in the sense, when we discussed about the negative factors, I told you there are some factors related to the client, there are some factors related to the therapist. Like health issues can come, economical issues can come. So all these, or maybe lack of motivation from the side of the client to come for the therapy, or maybe the therapist itself is lazy to come for the therapy. Okay, therapist might have sleep problems, therapist might have woke up very late. Therapist is also a human being, it can happen. So non-specific factors are also there which might influence the therapy as such. Okay. And I think in the non-specific factors it is given there, therapist variables and also patient variables. You can underline that, and the person who takes the seminar, please make sure that you explain. Okay, it's the same thing as we discussed. So these are the 4 points or the 4 factors contributing to healing in psychotherapy. We have to take care of these things if the healing process should actually take place. Merely just seeing a client for a session, it's not enough. We have to make sure that it leads to the healing process. Alright, now the next one, next topic is ethics in psychotherapy. Ethics in psychotherapy. We have already learned the ethics of research and all. It's more or less similar. Tell me, what is the C word in ethics always? C word. C word.
Confidential.
Sorry?
Confidential.
Confidentiality. Yes, that is one factor. Whenever we think of ethics, think of confidentiality, which means if maybe Elvina is my client and I am the therapist, and I should not go and maybe write something regarding her issues and give it to somebody, or maybe I should not put it into verbal form, that is speak about that condition with her name in it. Maybe if I am confused about the diagnosis also, I am free to discuss that with my colleagues, maybe discuss that with other clinicians, but they shouldn't be able to identify her based on this issue. Okay, and that is why we are writing the initials and all in reports. Like if it is Elvina Joy, we'll write EJ. Understood? That is one main factor, confidentiality. So the therapist should maintain confidentiality. Then, what are the other ethical factors? If you are ethical therapist, what all things you should follow?
You should give complete freedom to the client. And if the client wants to stop and go, then we should let.
Okay. Then, what else? Anything else? That's all. Only confidentiality is to be followed mainly. Think of the negative things, then you'll get more. Like if in films also we can see many doctors and many even therapists, they are forced to do something, but if they are ethical, they tell it's against my ethics, it's against my own ethics, it's not confirming my ethics in my profession, my professional ethics, or maybe in medical field they call it medical ethics. What are the situations? What are such situations?
When you're prescribing medicines,
See, now you easily got it. When you prescribe medicines,
we should only prescribe those which doesn't have any side effects, but which doesn't harm the person.
okay. But in psychotherapy, we don't prescribe medicines, isn't it? So that is there. In medical ethics, we can consider that. What is related to the psychotherapist and the client?
Shouldn't give wrong directions to follow.
Yes, okay. If the person is untrained, like I don't know what psychodynamic therapy is, then can I perform that? Can I use it? No. And if I am unqualified, like I have done some diploma or something, and then I'm going to start a clinic, that is again illegal actually. If you don't have RCI licensed MPhil, you are not supposed to start a clinic. Okay, RCI means Rehabilitation Council of India. Usually in India we need that MPhil, RCI registered MPhil, to practice as a private clinical psychologist. Okay, then Raina, anything else? You can't think of any?
You shouldn't take advantage of the client.
Yes, you
in
should
case
not.
of money.
Yeah, should not manipulate the client, either emotionally, financially, socially, not in any ways. Okay, so that is important. Yes.
The therapist shouldn't be aggressive.
Shouldn't be aggressive. Yes. Then, do you remember informed consent? When we learned research, informed consent. What was that?
Whatever the person is doing, we should inform it to the client.
Yes,
Like
and
even after
consent
the
should be
treatment.
taken. Yes, consent should be taken from the client. Even before major operations in hospitals, they take the consent, isn't it? Consent from the patient, or if the patient is not in a what do you call, in a position to sign or give the consent, then from the close family member, they take consent from them. So informed consent is also important in therapy, psychotherapy also. Then what else?
If there is a serious case like child abuse or something like that, we should have to inform to the higher authority.
Yes, that is where we break the confidentiality. Maintaining confidentiality is our ethical factor, but there are times when we have to break, when we are forced to break the confidentiality. There is examples like child abuse, then rape cases, then self-harm or causing harm to others, all those suicide tendencies, all those cases that we have already discussed, I think. Then what should be the focus of the therapy each and every time? Whichever therapy we take, what should be the focus?
Lessening the distress.
Lessening the distress, which means reducing the problems faced by the
Client.
faced by the client. That is the focus. That has to be the focus. Okay, and maybe if clients problems are very much reduced and the therapist doesn't have any more clients left, so if the therapist thinks maybe I can ask this client to come for maybe 2 or 3 weeks again because they don't have customers anymore, is that ethical? No, it's not. That's why we are telling the prime focus should be reducing the distress of the client, and after that we can set the closure sessions, and after that only we'll close the section and we'll inform the client that we can meet for follow-up sessions, like to make sure that this therapy has been effective or the client is following this after or post therapy techniques. Like there will be the client has to become capable of maintaining his or her problems and dealing with his or her problems. Then only we can make sure that the therapy can be stopped. Okay, so for that, to make sure that this is happening, we can keep follow-up sessions. That's okay. Like when we prescribe, not us, again, when doctors prescribe medicines, they ask for follow-up sessions, isn't it? They give medicines for 1 or 2 weeks, and then they ask us to meet after 10 days or 7 days. Yes? Then they'll check the condition, then they'll prescribe. If they have to increase the dose, they'll increase it. If they have to decrease the dose, they'll decrease it. Or if they think that the patient is alright, then they'll ask them to stop the medicine. Just like that, in therapy also, follow-up sessions are also important. Okay, then, what else is there? Yeah, respect is an important factor. Respect for the client as well as the therapist. Respect and maintaining the dignity of the relationship as well as the individual in front of you. That is another ethical factor. Last one is professional competence and skills are essential. That we discussed already. Without any training, without professional skills, the therapist cannot perform the therapy properly. And again, it is unethical to do so. An untrained individual cannot provide psychotherapy. Okay. Then what else? I think we have covered. Integrity of the practitioner-client relationship is important. That also we discussed. The therapeutic relationship. It should be maintained as a therapeutic relationship itself. One should not manipulate the other, especially when transference and all occurs. It should be managed in better ways for betterment of the client and also to facilitate the therapy. One should not manipulate the other person. Okay. Now, Raina, can you just read all those points? Ethics in psychotherapy.
Ethics in psychotherapy. Some of the ethical standards are needed to practice by the professional psychotherapists are: first one, informed consent need to be taken. Second, confidentiality of the client should be maintained. Evaluating the personal distress and suffering should be the goal of all attempts of the therapist. Integrity of the practitioner-client relationship is important. Respect for human rights and dignity. And next one is professional competence and skills are essential.
Okay. So that is about factors contributing to healing in psychotherapy and ethics in psychotherapy. Okay. Then next topic is alternative therapies. In that section actually there is nothing much to explain. It's about the different yoga, meditation, all those procedures. Okay. Because even before we knew about psychotherapies, we know about meditation, relaxation procedures, yoga and all, isn't it? Have you heard of Kundalini Yoga? What all terms in yoga have you heard about? Have you heard of yoga? Okay, thank God. And what in yoga have you heard about?
Pranayama.
Huh? Pra? Did you mean pranayama? What did you say?
Pranayama.
Pranayama, okay. Then,
Surya Namaskaram.
Surya Namaskaram.
Shavasana.
Shavasana, all our favorite postures, isn't it? Shavasana. Back in school, when we had yogas when we were at school. They taught us yoga. 1 hour it was yoga period for us. So when we go to the auditorium and when this Shavasana, when we were doing Shavasana, most of us would fall asleep. Instead of being in the yogic meditation, most of us would fall asleep. Okay, then.
Shirshasana.
Yes?
Shirshasana.
Shirshasana. Yes, Shirshasana. Famous ones in movies, isn't it? Yes.
Vrikshasana.
Vrikshasana. Okay.
Padmasana.
Padmasana. Have you heard of Vajrasana? Yes, that is very useful for increasing concentration. And when we were in 10th or 12th, I don't remember which class, this was taught, and benefits of this posture was taught to us. And we were like, okay, so from next time onwards, we'll sit in Vajrasana and learn. And I had actually done that. Actually, it's useful. But the only thing is your leg will pain a bit. When it becomes a habit, it won't pain anymore, but still, in beginning, it's really painful. Then, I think this, pranayama is there here. Asanas, all the asanas is given. Yoga Sutras, Patanjali, you know Patanjali, right? Why are you laughing? Patanjali's Yoga Sutras, that is mentioned in the textbook. Then Sudarshana Kriya Yoga, that is the yoga that we learned at school, Sky Yoga. Sudarshana Kriya Yoga, that is it. Okay, Sky Yoga. Then what else is given? And the usefulness of this yoga in treating several disorders, PTSD, depression, anxiety, that is given. Then Kundalini Yoga, that's given in the last paragraph of that section. Kundalini Yoga, taught in the USA, has been found to be effective in treatment of mental disorders. Even for, not only for mental disorders, even for physical disorders, yoga has been prescribed in many places. Okay, so that is about the alternative therapies. And the last section, rehabilitation of the mentally ill. Just take that portion. Yeah, in that we have what are the methods to rehabilitate the people with mental problems, like especially in mental hospitals also. There are patients who has to be treated lifelong. Like they need some assistance from the clinicians lifelong, especially elderly people. Even in some hospitals or in some mental health institutions, we have some people like very much old people, like elderly people, and they can't be managed at home, in a home situation. And so it will be like an old age home, but still they'll be given mental health treatments also. There are institutions like that. So for them, they also need to have some like not professional life, but some rehabilitation, right? They can't sit simply from morning till night and then eat medicines or go for therapies and go for therapeutic sessions. So they also need to have some or the other productivity in their life. So for that we rehabilitate them. If they are not manageable at home, we rehabilitate them into some other institution, and maybe occupational therapy is given. Like they can learn small activities, then play therapies, all those can be given. Then vocational training, social skills training, how to talk with others. Then have you seen such people making envelopes, candles, soap powders? In certain institutions they make all these things. And they sell, so it will be an earning for them also. Even though they are a part of such institution, it is productive for them. So all those things are discussed in the last section, and just to improve their quality of life, that is the main focus. Okay, because again, people with mental disorders and mental health conditions, they are also human beings. They need to have a life, isn't it, until they die. So to improve their quality of life, the therapist, then the head of those institutions, especially the family members of the clients also, they can encourage these people to engage in these activities. When we did internship, you know Kusumagiri mental hospital? Kusumagiri? No. What all mental hospitals have you heard of? Ulambara Mental Hospital? Yes. Then only that.
Kota.
Huh?
Kota.
What Kota?
Kota.
Kirake Kota. I don't know. Okay, let it be. So there, when we went for internship, they the patients again, they engage in making these envelopes, and they sell it. Then also for during occupational therapy session and the free time, the leisure session, they play games, they make certain things. Then certain activities are given for them to improve their memory power. Even we engaged in certain activities along with them. Then they play chess, ludo, caroms, badminton, and so on. Okay, so that is about rehabilitation of the mentally ill. I'll explain after they do the seminar. Okay, so from next day onwards we can start seminar. Be prepared. Alright? Yes. And I think after that we'll have the MCQ test, right? After next week, I think. So please don't forget to prepare the questions. Do that, and those who have the seminar, please prepare for that also. So we'll complete this chapter. Again, we have completed more than half of our portion for class 12. And in some schools, I think they are lagging behind. Like they have reached only 3rd chapter or so. We are far ahead. Anyways, I think it's time to wind up. So prepare the questions and send it to me. Okay, thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.